Hey, welcome back to Transformative Podcast. I am your host, Alicia, and today I want to talk about the identity. And I will not be alone today because I asked a special guest to come to talk about identity, which is Stephanie Lopez. And I'm so excited to talk with her because I feel like we have the same point of view. And identity is so much important in order to grow your business because people are already asking for strategy, but they forgot of the foundation, which is who you are and which identity do you want to bring to the table in order to differentiate from your niche and to become the solution of your dream clients. So thank you so much, Stephanie, to come here to accept to be my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. And everything you said at the start is true. Identity is such a big, important part into building your brand and your business.
This, as the first, I did the same thing. I put in the last part in my game because I was thinking, oh, I want to do all the strategy. Give me the strategy. What I say to all my codes that I buy the offer, but I forget who I am and what is my identity because after you can lose and you're like, it's not working, but it's because you didn't come from the foundation, which is the identity. So can you introduce yourself, Stephanie?
So I'm Stephanie, and I'm a business mentor that specializes in identity and self-trust. I help women generate more sales in their business by putting the self-trust and into the sales strategy as well as their marketing. But in order to do that, you first have to know who it is that you are.
I love that. I feel like it's very important. Before that, we enter to the topic and we go deep. I want to know, why did you start to become a business coach?
So my journey starts as a virtual assistant. Ever since I was 16 years old, I wanted to have my own business just because I wanted to have more money, so that I could retire my parents early and also be able to buy their dream house. So that was my priority when I was 16 years old. When I discovered the virtual assistant business and the world around virtual assistants back in 2020, I decided that it was for me. And as I was a virtual assistant, I invested so much into learning, like I said, the next strategy, right? Into learning how to sign more clients. But as I was investing, I was also gaining a lot of knowledge. And that is why I decided to become a business mentor, because I knew that through my knowledge, I could help so many women be able to build their businesses by doing something, one, that they love, to achieve something that they want in the future.
I love that. I love your journey because I think that you are doing the same thing that me, that you are first, okay, what is the strategy? But after you discover, okay, maybe I need to focus and do what I really want to do and help other women to do the same things as me. So I love that. For the people who don't know what is identity, can you give us a definition?
Identity for me means who it is that you are. Now, in my personal opinion, there are two types of you. One that is based around other people's opinions, how they perceive you, and then the other one is who it is that you truly are, your values, your strengths, your weaknesses, and just who makes you, you, right? And I think part of this whole, whenever you enter the entrepreneurship journey, you, like you mentioned, it's all about strategy. It's all about trying to get to the next 5K months, 10K months. But essentially, if you're just looking for outside worth, then eventually you're forgetting who you are. So that's why when you're just focusing on the next strategy, on your next goal, you have to remember who you are at your core so that you don't become so engulfed in this idea that your worth is outside of you and it's not part of you and your identity.
It's so true because I feel like so much, as you say, so much people want to say, oh, I want to have 5K, I want to have my 10K, I want to have my 20 and my 100K, but they forget that who they are as a person. And I can see that with my clients that they don't see the growth because they are here to say, oh, I want to please people. So they're doing like content that is not resonate with everyone because they are so afraid to share who they are because they are thinking, oh, I want to have more visibility. So more visibility means more clients. And so they are doing like what I call pick me content because it's like, oh, they don't do the same thing because they don't know who they are, because they are thinking, as you say, as you say, the true identity, the identity that you share for the world, and not the identity what you share for yourself. And when you're doing the work to understand what is your value and everything, the first identity that when I talk about is they are thinking, okay, if I doing this, I will please people, so people will tell me, oh, I am I am legitimate to sell my offer. But what is happening is they are not selling because they are saying, oh, I don't understand. I have the like, I have the visibility, but people don't come into the world and just have, oh, great post. You are so nice and blah, blah, blah. And it's gift for me, baby energy, a baby entrepreneur energy. So my next question for you is really to understand why identity is so important for you in order to grow your business.
So identity is so important because, like I mentioned, when you are putting your worth on your next goal and forgetting who you truly are, you are not going to be building an aligned business that's meant for you, right? So I believe that you are in this world to basically share the gifts to the world, right? Share your own gifts. And in order to share your gifts, you have to understand who you are. And I think part of building a business is for you to be able to share your gifts while getting that money in exchange, right? So when you forget who you are, when you're not putting yourself out there as you truly are, you're not putting your gifts out there because that's who you are. So when it comes to building a business and having that currency exchange for your gifts, then you truly need to know who you are because, like I mentioned, those gifts are part of you.
And why do you think that so much entrepreneur, especially I feel like female entrepreneurs struggle with, okay, what is my identity?
I think in order to answer that, you do have to shed back everything that you feel like identity is, right? Because if you see yourself as someone who is not a good business owner because that's what everyone else has been telling you, then you're going to believe that you're not a good business owner. But when you have that strong sense of identity, you, regardless of what anyone tells you, regardless of what you're seeing, you truly know and you can anchor yourself around that identity that you truly know who you are.
I feel like it's so true because as you mentioned during your answer is what I love what you say is you need to forget what people are saying about, oh, you are bad, and come back to you to understand, okay, who I am, what is my value, and if it's true or not, because what I always say to my clients is, okay, it's not because someone tell you you are that it means that you are really that. And I feel like so much entrepreneurs struggle about that because they are thinking I am not enough. And for me, it's coming, as you say, you need to work on about the self-worth, really to understand, okay, do I am really this person that people describe, or I can be my true self? And I feel like people always thinking, okay, I need to have external validation to validate my identity. But in reality, you need to have the internal validation to say, okay, no matter what people are thinking, I know who I am and I will build the business about my value and everything.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
So my next question, and I feel like you will answer this question because as an entrepreneur, especially when I start, I feel like that I was limiting myself to being me. And why now, when I am coaching a lot of clients doing the same thing, they are limiting themselves, as you say, because they are thinking that they are maybe not enough or they struggle for external validation. Do you have like an exercise that people can do in order to explore that and maybe to fight that when maybe they want to share into the world their offer or just share their value?
So the most important part, especially that we're talking about identity, is understanding who is it that you want to be, right? Because I think a lot of times the person that we want to be is truly who we are, right? So and I actually teach this inside my one-to-one with my clients, into really getting down to who is it that you want to be, because that person is already inside of you and it's wanting to get out, so that you can, share your gifts to the world. Um, so yes, that's the first exercise that I actually do with my clients, is really understand who you are, so that then you can start shedding everything that you are not, shedding like those beliefs that people have put on you, the perspectives that people have put on you, like other people's opinions, like I mentioned, really anchoring on who you are, so that then you can start feeling comfortable with being yourself, especially in the online space, which can sometimes be scary, especially if you coming into the online space. The online space can be a really scary place, but when you're anchoring back into that person of who you are and shedding back those layers that you're not, I think that's the first step into really being seen and known in the online space and feeling confident around that.
I love that. I feel like it's so important. And I love that you're doing that for your first exercise that you're doing, because as I mentioned, me, when I was starting, I was like, oh, everything is strategy. And I was putting a mask just to are thinking, oh, because these six-figure coach are selling, I will do the same thing and maybe I will have the same result. But it's not working like that, because people don't want to buy a copy, they want to buy the original. So I feel like in order to understand who you are, as you say, you need to say, okay, what I don't want. And it's more easy, in fact, to answer what I don't want than what I am, because I feel like, especially as a woman, we in the society, we are here just to nourish and maybe help others, but we always forgot that, oh, we are a human and maybe our dream is very important and it's not selfish. Is sometimes we take care about our dream and what we want, and not because this coach, as you mentioned, tell you, oh, you are bad, that is mean that you are bad. Is maybe this coach is not for you because they don't talk the same language as you, and it's not because you don't have the result with her, it means that your business is bad.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from like really focus on what your identity is and lead yourself through that. Like be the leader into not being the cookie cutter version of your coach, but being another leader that's born from like that knowledge and that expansion.
Yes, it's so true. It's so true. I love this sometimes that you say you need to let through that. I love that. So what do you think that people, that a female entrepreneur always thinking that identity come last and first is a content strategy or marketing strategy?
I think most of the reason for that being is the fact that, we are programmed in as we're growing up, not to really focus on what's within us, but what's outside of us. So if we see that something's not particularly working, let's say you're not landing clients, then logically your brain is like, oh, it's because you're not doing X, Y, and Z. But the reality could be as simple as not really anchoring yourself and understanding that you're here to explore more around yourself and bringing that identity into your business. And that's actually the reason why you're not landing clients, because you're not trusting yourself with the identity. You're not trusting yourself with the gifts that you have to offer. So logically, our brain thinks about, how can I resolve this? How can I start sending clients? So that logical part of the brain is now activated. So you're thinking all about like strategic rather than anchoring back into yourself and seeing it like, where is it that I'm not trusting myself? Because you can be implementing whichever strategy feels good to you. But if you're not trusting yourself, if you're constantly like double checking yourself, like, you're writing a piece of content and then you go back to it and I'm like, no, never mind, this doesn't feel good. But when you were writing it, you were actually like coming from a place of service. But then you start looking at the plugin scripts and everything is just like second guessing yourself, like really pushing away your identity, where you're feeling confident, where you're feeling, okay, I know how to write good content. I'm coming from a place of service. I'm going to put that content out there. When you go back into strategy, you might be thinking, well, if I say this, like, does sound better. So you're like now second guessing yourself. And I think that's why that second guessing comes because you're thinking of the problem logically rather from a holistic view. Because yes, strategy is important, but also that self-trust that you have, and also being able to tell yourself, I'm good enough.
I love that. It's so true because, as you say, we are raised to, okay, if you have a bad grade, you are bad. If you don't have enough money or you don't have the value, because I feel like people are thinking, oh, when you have more money, you have more value, but it's not true. And yes, what you say is so true is that sometimes we are here, especially when you start your business. Okay, you buy a bunch of courses to how to write your content, and you are like, oh, they tell me to do that, but okay, this is word I will maybe get more attraction and everything. But when you're posting, you are like, oh, I just have to like, and people are coming in my DM just to ask me if I want help. So you are like, oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong, and it's so true. But I feel like yes, you are so right that you need to come back to learn and love to follow our intuition and also to understand, okay, can I trust myself? Yes, because I feel like if you don't trust yourself, why people will invest in you? Because even if you're doing a sample poll, you don't show your face and you are like, no, because the energy comes through. Everything is come through energy for me. I feel like even if you are posting an Instagram, a story, even you don't show your face, people will see that is a place of, oh, I know what I'm doing, or I pretend to what I'm doing. It's for that I don't like faking until you make it, because you're pretending something that you don't have. So you cannot, your energy is not aligned with what you want to show. And as you say, sometimes is the best place to be is to be who you are because nobody is like you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about like seeing and identifying yourself as a leader and moving through that, and trusting yourself to move as though you're a leader, even before you believe that you are, even though you already are, which is why you decided to join the entrepreneurial journey with us.
Yes, it's so true. And what I say always is move through the fear. It's like you can move, you can, I say to my clients, you can make money even you are fear. Even you are feeling impotent syndrome or you have the fear of failing, the fear of success, but you are become the who you are because you know in deep of yourself that your message is need to be heard from the world. And yes, people don't like perfection. People like authenticity. So as you say, it's like, yeah, we need to show who you are in order to attract people have the same value as us. And yes, you are so right. My question also is, what advice can you tell us for someone that they are say, okay, Stephanie, I trust myself, but it's, for example, 6 months, 1 year, I don't have any sale. And so I try to do everything, but I buy content, I buy how to create an offer, I try this, I try that. So what advice can you give us for someone is like this? They're scared.
This is so, this is like so funny to me because I actually went through like 2023 was just like a whole year of like doing everything in my power to sign clients. I was doing master classes. I was showing up on lives. I even started TikToks. I was like in the DMs 24/7, showing up on stories, creating content. But everything around that was being forced because I felt as though I wasn't getting sales. It was coming from a place of scarcity. Everything that I did was just to prove to myself that I was worthy of clients. When in reality, just because I have the knowledge and the experience and just the gifts that I was given since birth, that alone makes me worthy to have clients, right? But I was trying to justify my worthiness through strategy. If I do this, then I should be able to sign a client. But that wasn't happening. And it was one, because I didn't feel worthy enough. And two, because I didn't trust myself to 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 be the coach that I wanted to be, right? Because I didn't see myself as a good coach. So it all came down to the self-trust, the identity, and the alignment, which all fall under who it is that you are. Because when you know who you are, you understand what things are in alignment to you and which things are not. When you know who you are, you're able to tell yourself that every day and show up as that person. When you know who you are, you're able to trust yourself with that. So, so I was doing all things in 2023, everything. I invested, I did all the things, but it wasn't working. I wasn't seeing results because I wasn't in alignment. I didn't know who I was and I didn't trust myself. So my advice to you is that if you're doing all the things and you're still not seeing clients, look within you so that you are able to see what is quote unquote missing, because all the answers are within you.
Oh, I love this answer. And it reflects to my journey too. It's like in 2023, I was struggling a lot. It's like I was doing, as you said, doing everything I invest in myself. I signed up for the mastermind that it give me it's a lot of money. I don't forget it because I learn a lot, but it's the same as you. I doing Pinterest, I doing YouTube, TikTok, but I was, as you say, I was forcing myself, and I was like in so much masculine energy. It's like doing, and see the evidence that is not working. So I was looking in the other coach, say, oh, you need to do that, and I trying, and I was in the place of serving my mole. So I say, oh, I need to sell also, as you, that I need to sell in order to prove someone that it will working. And in November 2023, I got sick, no working for 3 weeks. And I say, okay. And I was like, oh, I was not able to work and everything. And my sister come to me, she say, oh, why you are so sad? I say, oh, I cannot work. Oh, it means that I'm lazy. What people are thinking of me. They will think that I am not a good coach and everything. And she told me, no, you need to rest. And I come back to the place that, okay, what is my genius and who I am as a person? And I start my Medium blog and it start to take off. And I was like, oh my God. And I start to sign in client and everything. And it's because I was thinking, oh yes, this masculine energy thing that you need to accept is not for me. I love to be a girl boss, but it's not me anymore. And I feel like, as you say, you need to come back to the value who you are, because I feel like they're just a some type of way of coach that show you that you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. And what I say always to my client is, I can tell you something, but if it's not good for you, just tell me, because I know that I was the same as you, that, oh, my coach told me to do that. I do it, but it was so forced in the place that it was like, oh, it was not aligned with me. I was like, okay, we need to do a TikTok. And I was like shaking, and I was like, don't talk about what I want to say, because I was so afraid, because I was like, oh, I need to say that because my coach told me to do that. And when I decided to work on, as you say, was the topic of the day, to identity, who I am, and I was thinking, oh, it was not a place of self-love, because as you say, you have a gift until the Lord. I feel like for me, if I'm here right now with you, is because the universe or God tell us is the right place to be. And I feel like, yes, sometimes you need to go to this phase that you are, okay, it's not working, just to find who you are and find your identity and say, okay, I am this coach, no matter if right now I don't have the amount in my bank account, I don't have the clients, I don't have the 10K, 20K, is not mean that my value and what I can bring to my dream client is not enough. It's enough. It's more than enough, because people will tell you that, oh, this is today, you need to do that in order to have 20K. But it's not like that, because they don't understand you don't understand your community. And sometimes also, what I said to my client is not that you don't have the identity, because even if you have 200 followers, you have the community. It's because you don't believe in you, and you don't believe that what you have to offer is enough.
I love that you mentioned community, because when you're building a community, part of being a leader is being able to know who you are, to make the decisions for when a community is looking up to you, right? When you are not aware of who you are, when you're not centering your identity, decisions are very hard to do because you don't know. Like I mentioned, when you have a good sense of identity, alignment comes very easily to you. You know what's in alignment and you know what's not. But when you don't have the sense of identity, you don't know what's good for you. You don't know what's in alignment for you. You don't know what's in alignment, for others. So if you're being a leader, if you're building a community, part of it is going to be able to make decisions. But when you make those decisions, you're going to have a sense of what's in alignment to you and trust yourself with the decisions that you're making.
When we don't know who we are, we're doing some decisions just because we are so scared. And sometimes we accept something that we never accept just because we are like, oh, if I don't accept that, maybe I will miss the luck of my life. And for me, it was like for 2023, I learned to say no. I learned to say boundary because I say, oh, if people don't respect me because I don't have this much of follower, I don't care anymore. They can have 2K, 10K or more. I will don't work with her because I know in my heart that my community is so powerful. My word is so powerful. My message is so powerful. And before 2023, I was like, oh, she says that, but she don't do it. Or maybe it's my fault. No, it's not my fault. Yes, it's my fault because I don't set boundary, but it's not my fault. It's not a value who I am as a person. And I feel like identity is also for like that. It's really to understand you can say no, no matter who you are in your journey. And if people don't respect that, it's not for you. And it's not mean that your business will not work. It's not mean that you are less value. It just means that, oh, you are a leader, as you say. You are a leader right now. It's not like a joke. It's your message, your business. So as a leader, I will show to my community, I will behave like that, even I show or not what is my struggle. I feel like some people forget that who you are as a leader is the same thing as you are in your personal life. If you are not the person who you are and you wear a mask, what I was doing before, you will see in your personal life that people will reflect you. You're true that you are not like that, you are not like this because you are afraid to, for example, to lose someone because you say no, you are afraid to do that, to do this. And when you are in your identity and you say, okay, I know I am, and I'm not scared anymore if people believe in my word. If you believe in is not for me, it not mean that we are bad. It just means that it's the end of our relationship. I feel like right now I can say no without scare, and I attract more people because I know who I am as a person.
And I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. Another question that I have for you is, okay, what do you think when people tell you, okay, I want to work with you, Stephanie, but I am so scared to leave the strategy to let's put a question to the data and everything. How do you answer that?
I think, well, one of the first things that I tell when people come to me is like, I want you to trust yourself with everything that you're doing. Because if you're not trusting yourself, especially if you want to invest with me, I cannot help you if you don't trust yourself. You have to at least have a little bit of self-trust that when you leave the strategy, well, not leaving the strategy behind, but whenever you're jumping into understanding who you are, I need you to trust yourself. And that's why whenever I'm like bringing someone into my container, self-trust is such a big theme that I cover, because if you're at a point where you're building a business and you're not seeing the results that you want, the main cause that I see happening for this reason is because you're not trusting yourself. So therefore you're self-sabotaging. And so when someone comes to me and it's like, okay, I'm scared, trust yourself even if you're scared. That's the point of trusting yourself, is that even if you're scared, even if something like the worst case scenario happens, you have to have enough self-trust that you will guide yourself out of it, that you have the answer within you already to guide yourself out. And that, I think that's powerful. And that's the whole point of knowing who you are, knowing that the person that you are, and identifying yourself as this person that whatever situation happens, whatever worst case scenario happens, whatever challenge happens, that you are going to be able to get yourself out of it. And I think that's the beauty of self trust, is like trusting yourself even in the worst case scenario, and trusting yourself even when the best case scenario happens.
I love this answer. It's so true. It's so true. No, I love it. I cannot answer. I cannot add any more thing because it's so true. For me, it's like self-worth is self-worth and self-trust is so much important when you are doing your journey, because we are thinking the strategy is like a god or something like that. But in reality is self-trust will give us the power to continue to wake up every morning to say, I will do that even if it's not working. I will show up for my community even if right now it's not working, because I trust myself that, as you say, it will work no matter what. So I love your answer. It's very powerful.
Thank you.
My last question for you, or my two last questions, is if we want to work with you, what is your offer and how we can contact you?
So you can contact me through Instagram at Insightful Happiness. And right now I am promoting my one-to-one, where we dive deep into the identity work, where we build together your self-trust so that you are able to implement strategies that are aligned to you, and that will call in clients that are meant for you.
I love that. So I will put everything on the description. And if you are looking at us through YouTube, you will see on the screen and on the description. So to close this episode, and I really love this episode because we share so much value. What is your word to describe everything that we say during this episode?
Self-trust. That's my one word.
I love that. So thank you so much again to be my guest. I really enjoyed to discuss with you. I really love your Instagram, your world. I think we share so much value. So I am so happy that you accept to be my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. And I really love your work as well. Every time I sit on my feet, I'm like, that's her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me again.
You know what? When I find you, I was like, oh, I want that she come to my podcast because I really love your work. I was like, oh my God. And I say, oh, I will ask her. Maybe she will say no, but you say it. I'm like, yay! You make my day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So we will leave in you guys and see you for the next episode.